What up, fam? What's up, everybody on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube? Waiting for Natalie to come on live. We got some good topics to talk about today because it is Boss Talk Wednesday, and we're excited to bring you yet another episode. I'm not even sure what episode it is. We've been doing this for quite a few months now. I think since April, maybe, and it's just really a dope situation to be able to come to you guys every week for Boss Talk Wednesdays. All right, what up, fam? Guys, like and share this feed, guys. It's a feedback on your end, Natalie. So I think I
I
want to
got
meet
you.
your.
What
Yeah,
about
there we
now?
go. Let me see. Talk a little bit more. It's still just turn your volume down on your laptop.
Can you hear me now? Is there still feedback?
Yeah, it's a little bit, but not a lot. All right, fam. Like and share this feed on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook, guys. We're talking about some really good stuff. This is maybe I don't know, month like 4 that we've been going live. And you
Maybe
should just meet one
5.
of them. Yeah, because March, April, May, June, July, August. Yes, it's 5 months we've been going live, and we're excited to talk about what we're talking about today because you already know, as entrepreneurs, sometimes you need a little push. You got to mute one of them because it's going to be feedback on YouTube. I think that's good. Okay, we're good now. All right, we're good. I don't know what you did, but that was perfect. All right, so guys, as entrepreneurs, that sometimes it can be very, very hard as a creative or entrepreneur. And a key part of being successful as an entrepreneur is getting rest and rejuvenating yourself. Sometimes when it seems like you have a shortage of ideas or you have a shortage of resources, is because you're not getting rest. All right. So one thing I realized too is whenever it feels like right now, the past couple weeks I've been celebrating my birthday, but I've been out of the whim of always doing business. So I'm kind of like I've been feeling a little not down, but my energy's been kind of low. But it's because I've been off, but I haven't been resting, if that makes sense. So what I'm working on now is making sure I rest the rest of the week because rest is so important to rejuvenate yourself to get those creative ideas for your business flowing.
That's so good. Hopefully you don't have any feedback. I'm gonna just keep
No, we're
muting my
good.
computer. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna mute my computer when you talk, but I try to incorporate rest throughout my week and try to incorporate throughout my time. So like different things or different activities that I'm a part of, like clubs and things that I do, I need to incorporate rest in that. And so I learned early on that I could not, like even for my business, I could not work and see clients all week, Monday through Friday. So
Hmm.
I just see clients Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. On Wednesday and Friday, Wednesday is kind of like it was, prayer and professional development. And then Friday was like, I'm off. I'm not like I'm just recouping from the the week. And I try to do 5 days a week, but I found myself making less money one and depleted another one when I was just working all around the clock and not incorporating rest in my day and in my week.
That's really good. It's funny when I was working. I worked at the probably 3 schools ago. 'Cause I worked at 4 schools. Um, I had worked day school, I worked night school, I ran my business, and I did a mentoring program, and I ran like 3 clubs at the school. I was so burnt out because I had 140 kids I taught a day, and I had 6 periods a day. So what happened was I started to be so burnt out. But then, I have these really big picture windows in my apartment, right? And I realized that I wasn't able to see the sunrise or the sunset because I was out before the sun came up and I was back in after the sun came down. And I told my vice principal, I said, hey, I have to stop doing some of these jobs here because I'm not able to enjoy the view of my apartment. And she was like, what? So she came over for dinner one time and she said, okay, Josh, like, chef, I see what you're talking about. And it became such a, I was like a robot, you know, but then I wasn't being as fruitful as I could be. Everybody enjoyed the benefit of me, but for me, what I needed to get done wasn't being done. So my business became very, very stagnant. And also, I received lower income because the focus wasn't on resting to rejuvenate my business. And the more you start realizing that rest is so key to a thriving business, you start to move a lot of things to the side, because when it comes to being successful as an entrepreneur, sometimes the key thing is getting rest. Because, for example, is, at a 9 to 5 job, right? You already know that at 9 to 5, most times before we even get the job, we see our salary, fit how many hours we got to do to this. We calculate everything. And then it's just like, you already know that you already got your money set every 2 weeks, every week, every month, however you get paid. But as a business owner, it's like you're on a clock 24 hours a day, and you don't always have a set schedule. But the thing about it is, too, is you got to think about it. You have to treat your business as a 9 to 5 job as well, too. And not saying that you're not putting the same energy into it. You have to schedule certain things into your craft, because you don't want to be so burnt out that when it comes to your business, you're not giving your clients your best. And that's what happens a lot of times when you're burnt out, because I gotta do this, I gotta do this. But you know what though? You can respond to that client tomorrow. If they really enjoy your product, like I was working with a client recently, and I had a headache every time I spoke to this person, because I didn't set no, I'm so serious. I didn't set boundaries around when they could talk to me, because the thing about it, they couldn't operate like the online system. And it wasn't nothing wrong with that. Like, a little older client, but it's just like I should have set that up better, you know, because that was infecting my rest at 7 o'clock in the morning. You calling me, fam? No, no, no. Call me after 9. 7 a.m. is not a reason why I would have called an entrepreneur. And then don't text me at 11 o'clock at night about the same issue we're gonna talk about at 7 a.m. in the morning. Like, for me, that's too much. And I had to realize that, Jay, you love your business, but you have to prioritize your time, your resting, because you want to give the best to your clients and not be burnt out.
I love that you said you want to give the best to your clients and not be so burnt out. Oh, I love that part. And that's what rest is really about. It's getting you to the place where you can rejuvenate. Like you said, I love that word, because it's like you're being re-energized while you're not doing anything. All the stuff that you have been depleted of is able to replenish itself while you're resting. And the
Mm-hmm.
one reason why I know that rest is so important, because in the beginning, when God created the heavens and the earth, and he went through the 6 days of doing that, on the seventh day, he rested. Now, he didn't
Yeah,
rest
that's
because
good.
he needed it. God doesn't need to rest. The Bible also says that he neither slumbers or he sleeps. So that means he doesn't need rest. But what he was doing is modeling a framework for us, because he knew that we would need it. And so if
That's
he
good.
he positioned himself to say, I'm doing this because I want you to do this as well, because I don't need it, but you're going to need it. And so that's why I knew from the get-go, like, rest is an important thing, not just for my own, psychological and physical health, but it's important for the health of my business. There has to be a downtime. And I love
Mm-hmm.
the Chick-fil-A, one of my favorite companies, one of my favorite places to eat. They model that so well. And did you know that Chick-fil-A, not opening up on a Sunday, does, I think it says, 3 or 4 times better than Wendy's and McDonald's, who opened up 7 days a week, and some of them 24 hours a day. They are
Yeah.
outperforming them. And Chick-fil-A has a schedule where they open at a certain time and close at a certain time throughout the
Mm-hmm.
day, and they don't open up on Sundays. So that should show you that the model of rest for businesses actually becomes more fruitful than those that try to work 24/7.
That's very good. And I think too is it's just like, this is the longest time I haven't like worked a job. Like, normally, like, I have a summer off or I have a few months off, but I go back right to work. And the thing about it is, I have so much freedom. My mom has said to me during COVID, she has said, you know what? I always wonder why you quit your job. I'm like, wait, where this going, fam? And she has said, no, like, during COVID, I have to go to work, with the mask and everything on, and still work around people during the pandemic. And you're literally sitting at home choosing what you want to do today. So I don't take it for granted that I am blessed that I don't have to always work. I know how to manipulate my time. Um, but that really made me think about, like, wow, like, it's a privilege to be an entrepreneur, right? It's a privilege to be an entrepreneur. It's a privilege to be able to manage your time. But time management will always be it will always be the thing that will boost you to the next level, because as an entrepreneur, people think, "Oh, I want to be a boss." Only listen, being a boss can be for the birds sometimes because it's like you don't know where you're next. It's like you're going gig to gig, and until you get off the ground, it's very, very difficult. So sometimes getting rest isn't always a priority, but you still have to find priority in it because you're no good if you're tired. It's like, for example, is you sleepy, but you about to take a 10-hour drive. Like you're tired, rest and then go drive. Because what happened is once you take a break and you rest and then drive, there'll be such an acceleration where you're able to focus on the road and you're not drifting sideways. And that's what we do as entrepreneurs a lot of times, where we're driving in slow motion because we're really tired and we're running off of E. No gas can go far without E, or like on E. Like after a while, with my car, it starts blinking and then it starts saying, "Would you like me to direct you to get more fuel? Would you like me to direct you to the nearest gas station?" Because it knows that, bro, you can't go no more running on E. And that's the same thing we do with our businesses, or just things in life, period. We're running on E, trying to give people the best, but we're really giving people pieces of us. And nobody's really able to enjoy who we are in our essence. And we're not able to enjoy ourselves because we're not given the fullness of us because we're tired, we're beat down, we're worn out, because we're choosing to not go to bed early, not to eat better foods, not to do things that's really going to be conducive for us to live a long, lasting life. And some people who die early because they're burnt out.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. And I love the car analogy. I thought that was like a genius right there, Josh. I had to write that down. You said no car can get far without gas. And I'm just even thinking about with the same car analogy because I use the car as the vehicle. When I'm talking to my clients, I tell them that, your vision is your destination, the car, your vehicle is the mission, how you're going to get to the vision, and then the fuel, your gas is your why. And so you had me thinking, even with the car itself, like even if it's on E, if the car is constantly driving, if you're like, okay, I'm take the car, I'm gonna drive it from for the next 5 hours, and then somebody's gonna hop in and drive it for the next 10 hours, and then somebody else gonna hop in and drive it for the next 10, like you're going to break the car down eventually, even if you're gassing it up, if you don't give it time to rest. The vehicle itself needs time to not be in motion, to take a break, to rest, or else it would start breaking down because you're putting so much mileage on the gas in such a short period of time. I mean, on the car in such a short period of time. And it's the same thing with our bodies. Like our bodies need more rest than that vehicle needs. Like our body needs time to recoup and rejuvenate even more. And people don't even realize, like, we can schedule that. Just like when you're taking a trip, you will, and I listened to the replay and you put that amazing clip last week and you talk about how when we would take trips back in the day, we would go and get MapQuest and print it out and you will decide what destination you want to stop at. That's exactly what we're having to do when we have business and we want to maintain our businesses for the long run. Like if you want to do the quick pop-up and make 15,000 and be out, it's different as if you're deciding you're going to go into business and this is going to be your full-time gig for the long run. Like you want to make, 3 million, 4 million, 10 million. You want to become Forbes 100, 500. It's a different mindset. It's a long-term game as opposed to, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to coach 20 people, I'm going to get me $1,000 per person, make 20,000 and I'm out the game. Nah. These for long-term successful entrepreneurs, we have to start thinking the long-term game. Is your body going to be able to sustain you if you decide, example, social media, you want to show up to social media all the time. If you're going to show up every single day, can you do that every single day for 3 years? You might not be able to do that for every single day for 3 years. So don't commit to every single day for 3 years and then be mad at yourself after the second month that you can't even make it. You know what I mean? Start slow. Maybe it's once a month. Maybe it's once a week so you can have more time in between. Maybe, build up your momentum and your stamina, but you got to make sure that there's rest incorporated in between because those are the times, those rested times where your creativity is at its highest, where you begin to think outside of the box is when you're rested. It's not when you in the grind. Like if you want to go and create a new service or a product, what do? You go when you be alone. You go in the woods, you go walking, you go someplace where you're not always thinking, but you're
Mm,
expecting a download. You're expecting creativity to just like, we sometimes think come out of the sky because that's how it feels like, oh, just light bulb moment. But it's not in the grind that you get those creative moments. It's actually in
yeah.
those periods of rest.
That's very good because when you think about it, like even too, we had talked about research. It's so funny because I found a clip that we talked about research at the Boss Up Boot Camp too, and it was something me and you were talking about, and we talked about it last week with research. What happens is too is when you're always on a grind and you start to pause, you start to really be able to get more creative ideas, right? So what I realized too is like I always keep a notebook near my bed, right? Because sometimes when I'm resting, like my mentor said this to me, Dr. Stacia Pierce. I love Dr. Stacia. She is super inspirational to me. And she said this that when I go to bed at night, I pray, I say, God, I thank you for giving me creative ideas, answers to problems, and witty inventions, right? Reveal it to me during my sleep. So when I wake up, I'll be able to have it ready, right? Write down. So the thing about that part is sometimes you're stressing about things that you can't change. But when you lay down and rest, your spirit is always up. Your body is asleep, but your spirit is always up. So when you invite those things, those ideas, those dreams, those visions to come into you while you're resting, your spirit is working everything out for you. So when you wake up, the idea will come, the manifestation will come. Because when you rest, is like, when you wake up, you can write the stuff down because you may have a dream that may give you the answer. You may wake up and the revelation may come to you. So you want to write it down. But the key part is that before you start to take your rest, invite the things into your life that you want to see manifest and then rest. Like for me is when I started getting freaked out about stuff, especially when it's like, and I don't get freaked out as much as I used to about bills or like deadlines because I know God's gonna always take care of me, right? So when I start to really focus and meditate on the love God has for me, I start to focus on the gift that I'm blessed to have. I focus on that I have an opportunity to use my gift today. I stopped worrying about how things are going to get done. I stopped worrying about the how, and I just start focusing on, you know what? Let me rest because why am I stressing out anyway when I know that God gave me this gift to bless the world? So because I know this gift that I have is a blessing to others, I stopped to worry about the how. I don't worry about the how no more. How it's going to happen, I don't worry about it no more. I just thank God and I invite the success into my life. I invite the resources because I'm living a life of clarity and purpose. But you know what, though? Once I make that decision to invite it in my life, I rest. And I rest in the fact that God has me. So why am I worrying at 3 o'clock in the morning about stuff I can't change myself when I just know that God, you're going to give me the ideas and the vision to get it done. Let me just rest in your finished work because that's why when you look at the Genesis when Natalie talked about it earlier, and the 6 days of work and the seventh day God rested because everything that we needed in life was already provided for us. We're living a life between the seen and the unseen realm. This is going to come more spiritual. So what happens is when I'm living life in the spiritual realm, everything I need has already been provided. When God created the heavens and earth, all that good stuff, He provided everything we would ever need in life, right? But our goal is to bring it from the unseen world to the natural world. But all we got to do is just speak it, work towards what we got to work towards, and do our part and receive. And sometimes doing our part means resting. You don't always have to work. Now, faith without works is dead. That you hear that scripture a lot of time, but people assume works as I have to physically work all the time to get things done. When sometimes my work is just to believe that the gift that you gave me, everything will be provided for. So when I start to really fix my mind and say, hey, faith without works is dead. So let me do my work and rest because that's all He wanted us to do was rest and the finished works that He's already done for us. So the more I start to rest on what God has promised me, I start to receive the manifestation because I already know it's already in the unseen world because I know that God did it when He said it is finished. When He said that part to me, when He said that, when I read in the Word that He created the heavens and the earth 6 days of work that He did, I'm going to live off the work that he did for me and stop stressing because I already know what I need to receive. It's already there. I just got to pull it out of the unseen world and add his all that God has for me.
I love how you said, I'm going to add his super to my natural. Let's
Yeah.
go. That was so good. Listen, you said everything that I wanted to say. I really loved, you talking about going from the unseen to the seen and the manifestation, and we've talked about this before, how a lot of people don't like, a lot of church people don't like to use the word manifest because the new agers have taken it over, so to speak, or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
manifestation is just, and you said it perfectly, a revelation. So that means it's there. The things that we are desiring, the things that we want in life, it's there. All it's needing is, like you said, our words to come in alignment, our natural to come, connected
Mm-hmm.
with God's super, so that we can bring it, and not bring it, but to reveal the thing. It's like behind a curtain. And so
Yeah.
as we speak, we're literally opening up the curtain and making the thing that is unseen seen. It doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. That's the difference. When we
Mm-hmm.
don't understand and have clarity about around these words and around these principles and, well, practices that we have, it's not that it doesn't exist. It's just hidden. That's what unseen means. It's I cannot see it, but it's there. If I close my eyes, I'm not going to be able to see Chef Jay. But does that mean he's not there? No, he's just
Mm-hmm.
hidden from me. But when I open up my eyes, it's like a revelation. Wow, he's always been there. And that's
Mm-hmm.
what we have to realize when we are taking the time to rest. What we're doing is allowing God, allowing the creativity that has not been seen to
Yeah.
drop into the seen realm, so that we can operate in that thing. We don't even have to wait to operate in that thing to see it. We can operate in that thing
Yeah.
right now. But the resting part comes, especially for us as entrepreneurs. Sometimes we need to be still to hear, to see. We're so busy working that thing, building the business, pushing out the content, doing all the stuff, but we don't take enough time to just rest and allow the things that are not seen to come to the forefront, to be
Yeah.
seen. We don't take enough time, downtime, to allow the creativity to download in us. And that's why we need the rest, because it's there. It's
Yeah.
already there. It just needs to be revealed. And for many of us, it's not going to be revealed until we lay our behinds down, sit
Yeah.
down, be quiet, stop moving, stop fidgeting like the kids would be doing, fidgeting in their seats. Stop, be still, and let God, let all the things that are already there make
Mm-hmm.
itself known to you, so that you can operate in who you were called to be in the first place. So I love
And
that.
in addition to that part too, this analogy is very, very old. I think probably Pastor Joyce talked about this, or maybe it was Dr. Dollar, Pastor Creflo. Um, it's the analogy of the wind, right? We all feel the wind. We feel the results of the wind, but we don't see the wind. Thing about outside, it's been hot this summer. Actually, it's been really hot this summer. But you ever been into the place like, oh, it's finally a breeze. You go near a tree. Oh, I feel a breeze finally. You don't see the breeze. You see the result of the breeze. You don't see the wind. You see the result of the wind. So a lot of times too is that when you're so busy looking for the way you want it to happen, when sometimes all you got to do is just sit still and let the manifestation come to you because you did the work already by resting, and it'll come to you so smoothly where you'll start to receive the results of the manifestation. Manifestation, like when it's revealed, like Natalie said, you'll start to see the results of it. You'll see open doors of opportunity. You'll start seeing people come that you didn't know how it would happen. Like even to my business, like I'm thankful that I'm on the mind of people when they see my business. Like when they hit me up, they thought about me. That's no coincidence that they thought about me to use my services. It's just that because I was the right place at the right time, learning how to rest, I was able to pause and give out my best. So, for example, is whenever I'm crazy busy, I always forget to post on social media, and my posts are just like random. But when I actually take time to focus on what I need to focus on, my content has more of a greater purpose and the views and likes go up like crazy. So it's just like a lot of times when you're resting, right? And you take a pause from working, even when you take a good pause from working, you're able to really kind of rebrand yourself, right? So like even today, I took time, I had a really bad headache yesterday. And I even today I wasn't feeling so good. But I'm like, listen, you know how lives are. I'm gonna be on this Boss Up live. I'm not missing that for anything. But when I was taking a break, I had a great idea today because I took time to rest, and I said, you know what, tonight I'm not doing. Yes, I said tonight I'm not doing anything. I'm gonna just sleep, take some aspirin, drink some water, and just go to bed. And by me getting, I was like early from, I was in bed like 8 o'clock. But by me getting that really good rest, when I woke up, I had a great idea to promote Boss Up Bootcamp so much better because I had time to rest. When you're running on that empty tank, it's just like you can't be productive. And I know sometimes I feel like you're gonna miss an opportunity because you're not moving, but sometimes not moving will allow you to pause and see what's around you. Because sometimes when you're constantly moving in the race with yourself, you forget to enjoy the beauty of it. I know one time my mom had said to me years ago, she said, if you're too busy to look out the clouds, you're too busy, right? She said, if you're too busy to look at the clouds, you're too busy. And for me, like I love looking at clouds. That's why I love flying because every shape has a purpose. Every part of the cloud is a reflection of something else. So when you pause and start to see the scenery, and that's why when I had when I had one of the less hours at that job, I was able to come home and enjoy the sunrise and the sunset. And it felt so refreshing because it made me rest because I realized that if the clouds can form every day, if the sun can shine every day, if the grass is still green, if the trees are still green, if the animals are still getting fed, why am I worried when the earth has already a process of working itself out already? Like people get mad when it rains hard, but that hard rain replenishes the earth so we have food. So when you start thinking about that when it comes to you and what you do with your business, if you don't take time to get rest, you're gonna still be like a wagon with the wheel just falling off. Like you barely making it, you barely really being successful. You're at the same place at the same time every single day, and you're doing that. I hope, I wish, I should, I could, but you're burned out. So take a break. Like take a break because you'll have such a better flow when you just rest and then come back to it and just regenerate yourself and focus because you're meant for great things. But if you keep doing things that make you not be great, not getting like not getting rest, you're gonna be at the same place doing the same thing over and over again. You're on mute.
Sorry. I'm like, I was just like, oh my gosh, that's so good. Like you would be in the same without rest, you would be in the same place doing the same thing over and over again. That is crazy. And I definitely, as entrepreneurs, we definitely don't want to be going around that mountain again and again and again. We want to actually be going up the mountain and actually
Yes.
having some kind of advancement. And I was thinking about it as we're talking about it because there's sometimes people can rest too much and then you go into the place of being lazy and not
Oh
doing nothing
yeah,
because I'm
that's good.
resting, and then you don't rest enough, and it's just like, where do you find that perfect balance? And I was just thinking about what God did as far as 6 days and then 1 day off, and having that, using that as a ratio. Now, aside from going to sleep, where people say, or doctors or whatever say that you should rest between 6 to 10 hours depending on your age or what you do and all that stuff a day, just using that ratio of 6 to 1 can definitely be helpful. For example, if you're going to work 6 months on a project or 6 months on something, take a month off. If you're going to work
Hmm.
6 weeks,
That's
take a
good.
week off. Just using that now. If you work for every 6 minutes that you work, take a minute off. So if you like, I work 36 minutes and I don't want to, I need a break. Don't take more than 6 minute break because you gonna be out here being unproductive. You want to definitely be productive, but just thinking about having that ratio to help you, and not that you have to time yourself down to the second and the minute, but keep
Hmm.
you in a place where you're getting enough, you're being rejuvenated enough, but you're not tiptoeing into that part of being lazy because
Hmm.
you want to get things done. We know that success loves speed. That means you're going to have to move, and you're going to have to move at an accelerated rate. So if
Hmm.
you take a break every day, you know what I mean, or every second of the day, like, you're not going to get nothing done. But when you're strategic about your rest, that's what we have to realize. Rest is a strategy for our acceleration.
That's good.
Rest is not here to hinder us. It's not here to hold us back, but it should be a strategy to propel us forward. And when we use it in the right manner, when we're strategic about how and when we take our breaks, it can help us. One of my favorite pastors is Michael Todd, and he has this New York Times best-selling book, Relationship Goals. And he said that came about during a resting period. When he
Mm-hmm.
first became a pastor, one of his pastor friends told him, all right, so you need to take 2 months off, or a month off here and a month off there, one to be with your wife and another one to be with your family. And he was like, I'm taking all this time off and I'm like the head lead pastor. And they're like, yeah, you're going to have to do that because people get burnt out really quickly. People that, those pastors that go day in, day out, day in, day out, many of them are the ones that are committing suicide, or the ones that be like, I'm done with the church. I can't do this anymore, because they've never taken the time to rest. They never take the time
Mm-hmm.
to be with their family. You start thinking, honestly, when you don't rest, you start thinking that the position you are in is who you are.
That's good.
And as entrepreneurs, we need to learn how to separate the business from us. We think that we are the business just because the business has been birthed out of us. But we have to look at it differently. We are not the business. It would just be the same way as if I gave birth to my children and I think that my children are me. Yeah, they are a replica of me, but they
Mm-hmm.
have their own ideas. They have their own way of thinking. They're going to do things differently. I'm imparting my wisdom, my knowledge, my principles into them, but they eventually become grown and they can handle themselves. That's what our focus should be when we are entrepreneurs. We're building a sustainable business that will work without us, because I want to go on vacation. I
Good.
want to go do what I want to do, and I still want to make money. So how do I create that balance if I don't learn how to separate me from the business? I am not my business, but my business is birthed out of me. Two separate things, and that requires that you rest.
And that's so good, because what I had to do is when I worked in my very first high school, I noticed that I was doing all my gigs by myself. Sometimes my mom would help, but I realized that I was pushing out, even when I was doing dinners, I would push out like 140 orders a day, from a small place. And I'm out here, working myself ragged, that I would need 4 days off because I was so tired. I had to go back to a regular job. But what I did was, when I went to my first high school, I noticed that, wait, hold on. All of these kids are super dope. Let me offer them an opportunity, because a lot of times too is, when you're so busy working, you're not seeing who's around you who needs an opportunity, because it's just not you giving them an opportunity. They're giving you an opportunity to rest. And so oftentimes, especially in the chef world, people are so scared of people taking their recipes, taking this, taking that. But it's like, the thing about it is too, is like, I train my students to be better than me. So when I'm not at an event, they can handle themselves. But some people are so afraid to, if I give this up, they're gonna steal my business, they're gonna do this. Fam, if your stuff is that good, nobody can steal what's yours, first off. Like, if your product is that good, people will always come to you over and over again. So the key part to resting is, not being afraid of your business growing without you. Because sometimes, like, think about it, for example, is Ray Kroc has been dead for years and McDonald's is still thriving. Colonel Sanders have been dead for years. His business is still thriving. You know what I'm saying? Even too, the thing I love about, Ray Kroc is that he was always working on something, but then when he finally was able to get that part, he was able to finally get rest. So it's just like, when you think about it, it's just like, sometimes when you pause and reflect to see who's around you, who's in your circle to really help you, like, sometimes you have to ask for help because you can't do everything. Now, I get it. Some people will let you down. Like, like, even with partnerships, I'm not always, I love partnerships, but I know I've gotten stuck quite a few times with partnerships, with some very, very friendship breaking situations. But I realized that, hey, you know what? Every partnership is not going to be like the last. Every partnership is not going to fail. So never be afraid of partnerships, because sometimes partnerships will allow you to rest and be great at what you do. Like, for example, when it comes to my mentees, like, I love the fact that I can give them certain, like, I know what gigs I can give them, I know what gigs I can't give them. Now, I do know you got to know who you're working with. So I know what gigs they can do without me, and I know what gigs they can do with me. But once I start to realize that, I'm able to really kind of plan my life out better. Like a few weeks ago, I had this gig that I was away. I forgot what country I was in, but I was away, and I was able to call my mentee, say, hey, can you do X, Y, and Z? No problem, chef. We got it. Now, if I was so focused on being there to every gig, and you gotta think too, is like sometimes you can't show up at every event because I'm not trying to be funny. You know, is the payment good enough for you to always be there? And it's not a bad thing, but it's just like sometimes you got to manage your time because I realize every gig I don't need to be there with. You have the flavor that I gave you from the food. I don't want to the show up at every event. Some because I trust my staff enough to handle that. When's the last time you seen the owner at Applebee's at Applebee's? Who even knows who the owner is? Who know who owns, what's the other Fridays? Who knows the person who owns Cheesecake Factory? They're not there. That's why they put people in position so this way they can still bring an increase, but they're somewhere else able to run other things because every part of your business you don't have to run. That's why you hire people. And sometimes it may seem like hiring people may be a cost to you, but what will it cost you not to hire somebody to help you? Like, for example, some people's not good at social media. Hire somebody because if you have your social media flowing, you'll get more sales in. Even too, when it comes to like with food, some things I don't always, I may get things that you do shortcuts because everything doesn't require that, especially when you think about the financial responsibility, everything can afford you to be there, can afford you to do this. That's why it's so dope. Where even Natalie and we're going to the virtual market because honestly, we can't show up for every client. Some people just need to press play and they'll get whatever they need. We don't always have to be there. So when you start really growing and thriving in your business, you start to realize that, hey, what is a priority? What is, something I can kind of lay to the side because everything is not meant for you to do right now. But the key part about it is once you start to rest, you start to figure out what you can do, what you can't do, and what you need to kind of work on. And I realized that too. Like I took some rest last night and I got so much clarity. So now I'm like, okay, Jay, you got to manage your time better with your time of productivity because a certain projects you said you was going to have done by August 1st, by July something, by these days. So now you got to reprioritize, but it came from out of rest that I saw that, hey, bro, you're failing at these different areas.
Oh, I love that. I love that your rest showed you that you were failing in different areas. Oh, that's so good because I was just thinking as you were talking about that, like that's the purpose in those struggle periods. Like we have to really look at what we're doing and find purpose in everything that we're doing. Where were you struggling? Where were you finding it hard to show up? Is this a place that can be replaced with a system? Because you were talking about, we said earlier, rest is a strategy. Then Chef Jay came in and said, that's why you hire a team. Boom. Implementing a team can afford you to get more rest so that you can now start dreaming and thinking and being more creative so that you can in turn make money. Then I heard you talk about, even systems. When you have a system in place and being worn out will show you, oh my gosh, maybe I need to have a system in place for this. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this all the time. Maybe I should not be responding to everybody. Maybe I shouldn't show up to every event. Now, how can I make sure that my likeness and the fullness of who I am can be projected? Because come on, let's keep it 100. We are about technology now. We can project our likeness in any place at any time. We can pre-record these podcasts if we wanted to and just have it projected and be in the chat with y'all while we were in the bed. But that comes with a strategy, that comes with understanding and taking the time out to rest when you have been burnt out and say, okay, when I get back up from this rest, how do I position myself when I'm not as burnt out anymore? What things do I need to tweak? How do I need to pivot? So don't negate the struggle periods. Yeah, the struggle and whatever, we don't want that. But don't just abject the struggle for the rest and then come back and do it again. No, use that time to say, how can I do this thing better? How can I implement some structure? How can I implement some strategies and some systems so I can make this thing better? And if you are in need of that, you know where to holler at your girl, Natalie Lee Martin, the Clarity Coach. That's what I do. That's what I do. I help people create the strategies to help them get their businesses off the ground and to help you create a sustainable business. Some of us have businesses and we broke. If the business does not create income, it is not a business, it's a hobby. So if you want to turn your hobby into a business, holla at us.
So funny. I was watching this video of it was an interview between Kevin Hart and Jay Z, and Jay Z said, "So oftentimes we try to own, we always desire 100% ownership, but sometimes the 1% of ownership with something that's working will bring us more than 100% of something that we own. Because the thing about it is, it's all cool to have a business, but is it productive? It's all nice to say I'm a boss, but even too, you ain't boss nobody but yourself. Like, get out of here with that. Like, fam, is just like, entrepreneurship is cool, but it's just like it's not made for everyone, because you got to realize too is, some people sometimes getting that steady paycheck is nice. That last job I had that gave me 100K, that was a nice paycheck. Every 2 weeks I can count on it, but I wasn't fulfilled. So for me, is I had to realize, okay, Jay, you can make this in your regular business, but are you willing to really kind of balance your time and do the work to make it happen? Because, you know, yeah, like that check was nice. I can't even front. That check was nice. But now I think, and I thought about it now, maybe I should have stayed for a few more months to, make some better moves. But the thing about it is, I had to realize too is the first thing about after getting rest is you want to find proper coaching, because sometimes the right coaches will elevate you to go to the next level. And you got to find the right coach for you, because everybody's not for you. But even too is like one thing I've learned to do with my mentees that I've had, I had a lot of my mentees since they were about 14, 15, and 16. And now to see them, all under 25 owning businesses and doing well. One has a scare kin line, one has a dog food line, other ones are videographers and photographers, and they all check in. But the thing about it is, I kept it real with them. Sometimes they didn't want to hear what I had to say. But the thing about it is, they knew that Chef know how to get to that bag. So let me at least try to implement certain things, because I'll see some growth in my life. So that's why coaching is very important. So when you rest and you re-strategize, sometimes you might not be able to do it by yourself. And sometimes I don't want to do it by myself. When I have an idea, I always run past my friends and my mentors, because they may be able to add something extra to them. Like, oh, I didn't think about that. Oh, I didn't think about this. So never be afraid to really get a mentor to really help you kind of focus on certain things. So if you are looking for coaching, even too, I just dropped a dope series 2 weeks ago called 3 Steps to Discovering and Prospering in Your Purpose. The reason why it's so dope is because these 3 steps really help you to break down, from, okay, cool. The first step is getting clarity and decluttering. That's the first thing to being successful, is decluttering your life and getting clarity. Because once you declutter and get rid of all of the junk, and you're able to see clearly, your focus changes. Sometimes things aren't working because it's not that the idea doesn't work. Our clarity to see the other components of it means it doesn't work. And then the second step goes into really finding and discovering your purpose, and your gift, no, or actually tapping into your gifts. Because once you have clarity, you can tap into your gifts. But it comes with you first resting, decluttering, and finding clarity. Then you're able to tap into your gifts. And now you can fully live into your purpose. But it comes when you start resting first. And I'm a big component of that now. Before, I used to work myself ragged. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes I do now. It depends, but like if I'm working myself ragged, I'm definitely gonna take 5 days off. Like, that's one thing I'm learning to, like, nah, fam, you gotta chill and rest. So that's so important, guys, to really get some rest, because you want to be fruitful. Some people are booked and busy. I want to be booked and fruitful, because you can be booked and busy, and honestly, what people think is busy, it ain't really busy. You just moving around like a chicken with their head cut off, but they're not being productive. When you're booked and fruitful, everything that you do when you're booked, it brings fruit, it brings revenue, it brings all of these positive things. But when you're booked and busy, I don't ever want to be booked and busy another day in my life. I want to be booked and fruitful, because I want to make sure that what I'm doing is actually creating impact in the world. Impact is so important to have, but if you're just so busy being booked, that don't mean you got clarity. That doesn't mean that you're making the most out of your decisions and your money. So that's definitely what I encourage people to do, is just get some rest. Really log into one of our coaching programs. We have some automated stuff. We have some also one-on-one sessions as well too. But back to you, Natalie. Like, I'm at a newscaster. Back to you, Natalie.
I know, right? All right. Thank you so much, Chef Jay. Listen, I love that. I don't want to be booked and busy. I want to be booked and fruitful. And you know why that's so important? Because so many people are booked, busy, and broke.
Yeah.
And that's the part that they don't understand. That booked and busy part does not equal more money. It does not equal more money. I want y'all to go ahead and research the most the billionaires and all the people that are making most of the money. They're not always working 24 hours a day. And
Mm-mm.
I love what my husband said to me one time, because I was like, "Man, I'm so sorry that I was like in the season of just building and working." And he was like, "I understand." He was like, "I know that you're in the season of working." He was like, and a lot of people always ask always seek to have balance, but they don't realize the balance doesn't come every single day. You might be
Mm.
working a lot during these 3 months, but you have to take that equivalent time to rest when you're not working. So you may take
That's
a
good.
whole month off after you have been working and grinding 12-hour, 14-hour days for 3 months. And then you take a whole month off and you go to Fiji and you relax. So it still
That
balances out
part.
in the day, but in the month or within a 6-month period, but you got to be able to balance it out where you're getting that equivalent amount, whatever your number is. Mine's going to be 6 to 1. If yours is 3 to 1 or 7 to 1 or whatever it is, for every 7 days you take a day off, for every 6 days you take a day off, do whatever it is you need to do, but
Mm-hmm.
incorporate rest into your system, because it's a strategy to help you accelerate in your business. And that's all I have. Coach Jay, back to you.
Nah, that's cool, fam. And so we just kind of want to wrap this up. First, so we have a few different things that we have coming up. Boss Up Boot Camp is going to be on October 21st and 23rd. Friday night. You can hear me? Oh, so I put myself on mute because I started talking while you was talking. All right, guys, and that's really dope. And we just want to kind of wrap things up because we have some other stuff to talk about with Boss Up Boot Camp. So the second Boss Up Boot Camp is going to be October 21st and 23rd. On the 21st, one of my mentors, Dr. Joe Tankard, is coming into town to do a millionaire boot camp with us on Friday night. On Saturday, of course, Natalie's coming through, and some other speakers are going to be here in Jersey with us. And then we're going to do a drip after dark at my friend's gelato spot in Bayonne. But listen, it's going to be a super dope time if you're looking to grow your business, if you're looking to grow your brand. Like last time was so impactful, and I appreciate my friends just giving of themselves to really be able to really speak and help heal people, because sometimes um, success comes when you're healed. And when you're a healed person, you start to move differently. A lot of times we operate business out of a broken place. Like the broken place may be, I don't want to be broke again in my life, so I'm going to work so hard. But, sometimes what you were doing when you were in poverty has caused you to be so broken that when you come into a different place, you're so used to working out of a broken heart or a broken spirit that when you work, it doesn't always bring the best energy or the best production. When you work out of a broken spirit because people have told you you'll never be nothing, I'm gonna prove you wrong. And it's just like your purpose and your why is not to prove you wrong. And when you readjust your purpose and why you do things and operating your giftings, God truly flows through you because now you can find the perfect reason of your why. And out of at that last Boss Up boot camp, so many it was like a lot of broken issues were being healed at that last Boss Up boot camp because we dealt with hardships and heartache that really impacted our life in such a negative way that we're working off a broken spirit. And the thing about having a broken spirit is not that you're not productive, it's just that your level of success, your foundation needs to be revamped. When your foundation is off in your business, there'll always be something at the bottom of it that's always going to come up. Like, for example, how a lot of new houses have to remove septic tanks because they're not really, an old oil tanks that's not really common for new properties, is because they have the wrong foundation of it. So now a lot of times too is you have to redo your foundation, and there's nothing wrong with that because sometimes you have to go back to your foundation and see what was wrong, what could I do better? Because once you rebuild your sound foundation, because some people's business is based off of quicksand, which is why it keeps breaking down so fast, is because the setup of your business is based off quicksand and not a solid rock foundation. So what we're talking about in this Boss Up Bootcamp is helping people really live their life of integrity and fullness on a firm, solid foundation. Because if your foundation is strong, your business will thrive. So at the Boss Up Bootcamp, definitely want to see you there. Also, to click the link in both of our bios if you're looking for coaching one-on-one or some of our pre-recorded stuff, because we want to see you win. Honestly, that's the whole goal. We want to see when we know God has put that mandate on our life to help people see them win and really go to the next level. So we're gonna wrap this up. Natalie, anything else before we leave? All right, cool, fam. All right, so see you next Wednesday. Also, the tickets will be live on Friday for Boss Up Boot Camp. All right, so let's have a great week on purpose. I pray success in everything that you do. Whatever seem like is wrong, I thank God He will give you clarity to go forth and do what you're called to do. You'll have nothing missing, nothing broken in your life. Whatever you decide to do, God will make your crooked way straight. So when you're able to go forward, you'll go forward with such a strong purpose that lives will be changed by your gifting being in motion. All right. So have a good day on purpose, guys. And that's it.